Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was once again Barbie, making $3.8 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $625 million and a worldwide total of $1.4 billion. Despite it looking likely that Barbie is about to leave the top 5, she is still crushing it at the box office, just falling 33% from the prior weekend. Absolutely insane hold, especially this late in its theatrical run. That is just quite impressive. And in terms of milestones, it has surpassed the first Avengers in terms of all-time domestic grosses, which again is absolutely insane. Just the legs on this thing, the power of Barbie, ladies and gentlemen. This movie has just been a phenomenon and a juggernaut for quite some time. And while it does seem likely that it will be leaving the top 5 soon, I'm not sure if this will be the last we will see it in the top 5, as it is going to be expanding into an IMAX release for a limited time starting this weekend. So we may very well see another solid hold, or maybe even an increase because of that. So yeah, while Barbie is looking likely to leave the top 5 very soon, it's not going to be as soon as we expect it to, at least in my opinion. But yeah, still, what more else is there to say? Barbie's just become the biggest movie of the year for a reason. Number 4 was My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, making $4.7 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $18 million and a worldwide total of $23 million. So this movie had quite the drop. While not a steep or significant drop, I think for this type of movie they were hoping that word of mouth and audience reception would be a bit better. It fell 53%, which isn't terrible, but again, for this type of movie and how legs and word of mouth really benefited the first film, you would think that they would hope for a lot better of a turnout for this movie, but it just doesn't seem likely. I think this movie just came out way too late. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of interest, and those who have seen it didn't really care for it. Again, it got a B on CinemaScore, so audiences aren't too thrilled to check this out. Unfortunately, I don't see this lasting in the top 5 for much longer, and it'll probably be on its way out very soon. So yeah, not a total disaster, I guess, but still nothing really spectacular here. Number 3 was, funny enough, The Equalizer 3, making $7.2 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $73 million and a worldwide total of $132 million. So this movie seems to be picking itself back up from its steep second weekend drop-off. It only fell 40% this weekend, which is a pretty solid hold, and it puts its domestic total just less than $30 million away from the $100 million milestone. I think it's just going to come close or just barely get over that milestone, as it does seem to be slowing down a bit, but I do think it's still going to be able to maintain strong holds throughout the remainder of its theatrical run, given that there isn't really another action movie of this degree out in theaters for a while, so I think it'll be able to stand out, and people still clearly like these movies, and I still think that they have an audience, as evident with how they were able to have a pretty solid hold this weekend. They were able to maintain its core audience, so I still think Equalizer 3 is heading in the right direction. It's about to double that $70 million budget worldwide, which is pretty good, really. And yeah, overall, this is proving to be a solid performance for The Equalizer 3. Not much more else to add here, really. Number 2 was A Haunting in Venice, opening with $14.2 million this weekend domestically and $36 million worldwide. So while things slightly, and I cannot put any more emphasis on slightly, improved for this franchise, it still wasn't able to reach the heights of the first film, Murder on the Orient Express's $28 million opening back in 2017. This was just able to get over Death on the Nile by just $2 million. I really think this says a lot about how the general audience feels about this as a franchise. They're just not really into these movies as, say, like Knives Out or something, as they're really struggling to bring back or bring in new audiences to see these movies. And with a $60 million budget, this ain't looking too good, as audiences aren't really gelling with this movie. It got a B on Cinema Score, which isn't great. Maybe it'll, word of mouth will carry on and be better than expected, like a certain other movie we will get to in a moment, but I don't see it happening domestically, as worldwide things are looking better. It's made half of its $60 million budget back thanks to the international numbers. So worldwide, I think it will be able to get over the initial budget, and if it follows in Death on the Nile's trajectory, where it just absolutely does 100% better internationally, then maybe it could double that. It'll definitely be interesting. We'll see how those international numbers stack up against the domestic numbers. Definitely going to be an interesting thing to look at in regards to this movie. But as far as starting things off, it's off to an okay start, mostly thanks to the international audiences, as domestically things don't look great. And finally, let's end the video off with the number one movie of the weekend, which was once again The Nun 2, making $14.5 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $55 million and a worldwide total of $161 million. So in a surprising turn of events, The Nun 2 not only was able to hold pretty well for a horror movie, especially given the cinema score, but it was also able to maintain the number one spot, dethroning the new wide release, which I don't think a lot of people were really expecting. Again, it seemed likely that this would probably suffer a big drop, like maybe Insidious back earlier in the summer, but no. People still wanted to go check this out this weekend, which just shows the power of The Conjuring as a franchise. And, given that spooky season is upon us, I guess since that it's a horror movie, people wanted to get into the spooky season with a new horror movie out right now. And yeah, it seems word of mouth may be a bit stronger than we realize with this movie. And while it may not reach the peak heights of this franchise, it's still turning a pretty decent profit for itself. Domestically, it's looking like it's going to become one of the bigger horror films of the year, but internationally and worldwide, this is just an absolute juggernaut. It is now just $40 million away from surpassing $200 million worldwide. Absolutely insane. You want to talk about this maintaining audience. It's been absolutely killing it internationally, especially with a $38 million budget. Things are just looking like outstanding for this movie already. So yeah, overall a pretty solid weekend for The Nun 2. We'll see if it can continue this strong trajectory going forward. Of course, there are going to be some bumps in the road with some other horror movies start coming out in late September, early October. But yeah, as far as things going right now, things are looking pretty solid for The Nun 2. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend we have one new major wide release, that film being Expendables 4. This is of course the 4th and apparently final film in the Expendables franchise, and it is going out with a bang apparently, as it's bringing back the R rating after disappointed fans with the 3rd film was a PG-13. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not expecting much for this movie. Don't get me wrong, it's sure to take the number one spot, especially with how low the numbers are right now. And I'm sure the diehard Expendables fans are gonna go rush out to see this. But other than that, I feel like this may have come out a bit too late. I don't know too many people who remember fondly of those Expendables films, so I think this is out. This came out a bit after those movies were at its prime. I also haven't seen a lot of marketing or buzz for this movie. I've seen the trailer a couple times and a couple commercials here and there, but it's been not enough to say the marketing is great, and I also don't hear a lot of people talking about this movie or getting excited that it's coming out. So yeah, not expecting a whole lot for this movie. I don't think this is going to pull off what Equalizer 3 did back earlier this month. I just think it's going to be an easy number one, again, because how low the numbers are, but it's still not going to be a pretty big number. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied? Unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.